Time, it's the Royal Albert Hall.
Joe Bugner, the latest heavyweight sensation of Great Britain, meets a man who makes a welcome return to this country, Eduardo Corletti from the Argentine. Last seen here 3 years ago, and coming into the ring tonight, Corletti, a little heavier than when we last knew him. He's 14 stone 6.5 tonight, which is 4 pounds above his last fighting weight in this country. But he's giving away 10¾ pounds here to Bugner, who's 15 stone 3¼ slightly lighter than he was for Chuck Wepner last month. Joe Bugner having his third 10-rounder tonight, but so far he's never had to go 10 rounds. His last 2 fights, he took 5 rounds to beat Brian London and 3 to beat Chuck Wepner of the United States. Bugner's 30th professional fight tonight. Eduardo Corletti has had 42. Corletti, the South American champion from Argentina. Corletti's had 5 previous fights in this country and has never lost one over here. Remembered as a man of some talent and considerable durability. Corletti once stopped Billy Walker in this country in 8 rounds. The last time we saw Corletti was almost exactly 3 years ago, and it was in this ring at the Albert Hall when he outpointed Johnny Prescott. Joe Bugner, the ex-Hungarian, who's been earmarked for stardom in the heavyweights in this country for some time now, with all the physical advantages here, taller, heavier, and very much younger. 20 against Corletti's 29. Bugner has lots of reach advantage here, and if he plays his cards right, Corletti shouldn't really get anywhere near him. But he looks twice as fast as the Argentinian. And that's a very good start by Bugner, who gives a little shake of his shoulders as he goes back, knowing, I think, that he's made a good start. And I would say from that all the signs are there that this could be a very good win, and probably an inside-the-distance win here for Bugner if he keeps up the good work. Eduardo Corletti, handsome Argentinian, looking a little bit pudgy around the waist, just showing signs of advancing age and moving a little slower than I seem to remember him a few years ago. It's quite a long time now since Corletti won a really significant fight. I think it's fair to say that a year ago, a lot of people in this country looked on Bugner as perhaps a young man who'd been over-publicised and possibly overrated. But I think now people are coming round to the feeling that we really do have here a brilliant young discovery who is likely to succeed Henry Cooper as the British heavyweight champion within the next year or 2. Beautiful left-hand work from Bugner in this second round. Sharp, accurate jabbing into the face of Corletti, allowing the Argentinian no room in which to work, no chance in which to get a punch across. Corletti completely outreached. A beautiful sort of controlled aggression from Bugner. Corletti has got to show a lot more than this if he's going to get anywhere in this fight. The difference in physique here really points up what a magnificent specimen Bugner is. 6'4" and 15 stone 3 1/4. And there isn't an ounce of surplus flesh on him. Corletti has got further than Chuck Wepner managed to go against Bugner. Wepner, who suffered very much from old eye injuries, and Bugner opened them up very quickly. And that fight last month was stopped in the 3rd. Here we are in the 4th. Corletti being picked off now, almost at will by Bugner. He's short of reach by several inches against Bugner, so he's got to come close and fight in close, but he hasn't done it. And he's trying to outbox Bugner from long range, and it doesn't look as though he's ever going to do that. Corletti doing better this time with the left into Bugner's face. Bugner's eased off a bit. He's not throwing quite so many left hands. Can't afford to stop working. Bugner's being really well well handled. That's his manager directly in front of him, little Andy Smith, a Scot, who really is taking Joe Bugner up the ladder very, very carefully and very, very wisely. He's being taken along so that each opponent presents him with a slightly different problem and a slightly more difficult problem. He's not being rushed. A lot of people have criticised the handling of Bugner in that he's not getting to the top fast enough, but this is exactly the right policy. You can't rush a young man, and remember that Bugner is still only 20 and won't be 21 until next year.
Round 5.
Well, this is the round in which Joe Bugner beat Brian London. Well, there really is a world of difference in this fight tonight. That was a good right hand from Corletti, one of the best punches he's landed so far. But this isn't the Corletti that we saw a few years ago, partly because I think he's not quite the Corletti he was, but more because Bugner is not allowing him to get into the fight. Corletti is slowing down. He stayed around on those ropes a surprisingly long time. You get the feeling in this fight, as in so many of Joe Bugner's fights, that he's boxing well within himself and that if he wanted to, there's a lot more to come. But he's very much under the wraps in these fights. I think he boxes to orders, and he's constantly warned by Andy Smith not to leave himself open, not to get himself into difficult situations, always to keep the thing under control. Well, I think we really only see Bugner at half pace, as it were. I think there's a lot more there to be offered if it's needed. And a little of it unleashed in that corner. Corletti's been a pro for quite a long time. Well, that's not a very elegant sort of thing to have done to you, but it's to try to check the nosebleed that's starting. He's had 42 professional fights. He's won 31, drawn 5, and lost 6 in 9 years, or almost 9 years, as a professional. So this turns out to be the longest fight that Joe Bugner's had for a few months. Ray Patterson took him 8 rounds in April this year, but he hasn't had to go so far as this since. The best win that Corletti probably had in this country was not the one in which he beat Walker, but the one in which he beat George Chuvalo of Canada. whom you should probably know is an extremely rough and rugged character. And Corletti completely outboxed him at Olympia in 1966. And in the fight after that, Chuvalo took on Cassius Clay and went 15 rounds with him, which points up the merit of Corletti's win. Bugner's right hand coming into play now. Round 6. Scheduled for 10. Corletti getting the odd left hand in. But Bugner's been the governor of this fight all the way through, and I think at this stage now we should expect to see him beginning to open up a little bit, and clearly the crowd want him to do that. Bugner must be quite well ahead at this stage. Corletti was glad to turn away when the bell came there. One or two really good left jabs, solid left jabs went in from Joe Bugner towards the end of that 6th round. Really getting edgy and impatient for Bugner to open up. But he won't do that until Andy Smith says so. We'll see whether the order has come. I get the impression from Corletti now that he doesn't have too much faith in himself winning this fight, but wants to come out of it looking as good as he possibly can without suffering any great indignity. That's the sort of impression I get about Corletti as he takes that right hand on the chin. This is Bugner now really opening up. He does open up, he gets his man instantly in trouble. Here's his chance with Corletti on the ropes. And Corletti now looking really desperately slow on his feet. And more often, Corletti being trapped on the ropes. Just a little short right-hand clip reminder there that Corletti isn't quite finished. by Bugner, and a good fight back there by Corletti, getting out of that corner. And for the first time, Corletti opens up, and suddenly we've got a real fight on our hands. Well, that was interesting there, because Corletti suddenly began to fight back, rather like a wounded animal there, trapped on the ropes. And for the first time in this fight, he let his anger get the better of him, and he really began to lash out with two hands, and he drove Bugner right back across the ring. So now Bugner knows that his man has still got something left, and what is Bugner going to do about it? We might find here that Bugner will go back to the controlled aggression stuff, keeping well within himself and not leaving any gaps for Corletti to get through. That's a useful looking left hook there, slung by Corletti. All the time, though, you feel the power, the strength, as you would expect is with the younger man. Bugner 9 years younger, and the whole of his career before him. And Corletti probably going down the hill.
Come on, Joe!
These are the sort of matches of which boxing is really concerned. Ambition on one side with the younger man, and on the other side a man not quite prepared to accept that the best days are over. Again, there you see that sign that there is so much under the wraps with Bugner, so much there that he has to offer, but he shows it to us very sparingly.
Come on, Joe!
Well, now here's a very interesting turning point in the professional career of Joe Bugner, because he's now going to come out for the 9th round, and he has never been as far as that in his fighting life. 8 rounds is the maximum he's been so far. Although this is his 3rd 10-rounder, he's never before had to go 10 rounds. So 2 to go, and Bugner now, a young man moving into previously unexplored territory, into the 9th round for the first time in his young life. You just wish that Bugner would lose his temper more often. Bugner still working behind the safety of his longer reach and his smart left jab, and still not prepared to take any chances against the veteran Argentinian, the South American champion, Eduardo Corletti. The feeling still obviously very strong in the Bugner corner that this man Corletti could still have something dangerous to offer, and he might well have. So we've got 3 minutes to go in this 10-rounder, Bugner versus Corletti, and Bugner commandingly in the lead and always the governor in this fight right from the first bell, but has never quite let himself go, and obviously has boxed this veteran South American champion, bearing in mind that the man might have something dangerous to produce out of his long experience. So the return of Eduardo Corletti to British rings has seen him give Joe Bugner one of the hardest tasks that this young man has been asked to face so far in his professional career. No doubt in my mind whatever, the Bugners a mile out in front, but has never really been confident enough, or his corner haven't been confident enough to really let him off the reins and to let him really go at Corletti. Bugner's brisk left jabbing has been one of the notable features of this fight. Corletti at 29, definitely not the man he was, but at the same time we must remember that Bugner has not allowed him to show very much. Apart from anything else, Bugner will come out of this fight tonight knowing just how well he can travel 10 rounds, which he's never had to do before. And that in itself is worth a lot to him in experience. Just over a minute to go, and the whole of this Albert Hall crowd now absolutely pleading with Bugner to begin to let him go. A minute to go. George Smith, Scottish referee. I wouldn't think we'll have any long decision about this one. There won't be any totting up of points. And Corletti was hurt by those body punches. Just over half a minute left. So this fight is ending in exactly the way it started, with Bugner in command, boxing to orders, keeping himself well in control, plenty in reserve, but always showing himself to be the master of the veteran South American heavyweight champion. Bugner's made the running from start to finish. And there's the bell. And Corletti gives him an appreciative pat, and George Smith raises Joe Bugner's hand. So Bugner, in his 30th fight, goes 10 rounds for the first time, wins on points against Eduardo Corletti, and gains his 28th professional win.
Well, a laboured but deserved
tool for the